everyone, good afternoon. So I'm doing a quick video to show you how I'm about to make some homemade raw food for my pets. This will be actually for mostly my cat. Ariel, my dog, is a Chihuahua and quite finicky and doesn't eat too well, but Stubborn is on a strictly raw diet and he loves it and really thrives on it. So typically when I'm recommending raw food diet to people, I don't recommend people trying to make it themselves, because if you don't know what you're doing and you don't do it correctly and you don't buy your meat from the right source and add the right vitamins and minerals, you can actually hurt your pet far worse than feeding a low quality pre-made food if you're feeding your pet something that is not well balanced. However, for those people that want to put in the time and effort to learn how to do it correctly, or like just recently, I have a client I'm working with on my pet consulting who has really severe allergies. Don't mind the dog. Ariel, come here. Come here. Anyway, he had such bad allergies, we had to put him on a duck or rabbit only protein, and we were having a very hard time. They couldn't find a pre-made raw duck or rabbit protein sold anywhere near them. So having an option that they could make at home themselves worked well for them, and honestly it's usually far less expensive. If I make it myself, it's probably at least a quarter to 1/5 of the cost of a store-bought raw food, especially for cats, because the manufacturers like to really jack the prices up for the cat food, even though it's not much different, but they can get away with it because cats eat less. So anyway, this is what I do. Sorry, hard for me to see what I'm showing you. So I puree a little bit of some vegetables and fruit, and it has to be pet approved vegetables and fruit. There are several lists you can find online. There's a great company called Balance It, just Balance, BALANCEIT.com or .org, I don't remember. But it helps you make homemade food, and their recipes, however, are for cooked food, and this is for raw food, but still you can go by their guide of what fruits and vegetables are allowed for animals. And especially for cats, you want to just pick stuff that is very low carb, so nothing starchy, nothing carb, like no grain, no potatoes, no squash, carrots, onion, certainly not, nothing like that, just basically green stuff, and a little bit of like green apple or blueberries is good. So today I have a little bit of kale, basically one little stalk of fresh spinach, a couple pieces of asparagus, and a green apple, and a little bit of filtered water. So all I'm going to do is puree this, and I'll do that in a second. But once I puree that, I have that to add. And then we have our, I know it's backwards too, sorry, ALNUTRIN, this company, LiLNudists, basically stands for alternative nutrition. And this is the vitamins and the minerals that make the raw meat complete. And they have two different options. You can get one for meat that's ground with the bone, which is what I have, or meat that's ground without the bones. So again, you gotta know what you're doing, you gotta know what you're dealing with to know which supplement to get to make it correct. If you have meat with bone and you get the supplement for meat without bone, you could actually be giving your cat too much calcium and phosphorus, which could be really bad or even deadly. Or the other way around, if you get the one for with bone supplement and then your meat actually doesn't have bone, then they can be deficient severely on calcium, phosphorus, magnesium, whatnot, and could be very devastating the other direction. So gotta know what you're doing, but this is a really good company. They make it really easy. They sell it in prepackaged little packs or ones you can measure out yourself for less cost, which is what I do. So I have the proper amount, 6 grams, measured out in my cup, which is what I need for 1 pound of food. And that's my raw meat. This is raw turkey grind with bone in it. And I just add a few other little supplements on the top for Stubbin and his skin issues, some turmeric and a cat probiotic. So let me get this puree going and we'll put this together. Sorry, I really could use an aid to camera for me, I guess. But, you know, running a rather low production over here. And this is what you guys want anyway, it's real. Alright, good. I didn't spill it all over the place. That's a success for me, for anyone that knows me. I'm horribly bad about overfilling my blender and making big disasters. Alright, so a lot of recipes you might find online for a raw food diet for cats also won't even recommend or require any types of greens, but from all my years of research and everything that I understand, they do get some carbohydrate, especially greens, roots, berries, from the natural prey that they would get. And anyone that knows cats they love to go outside and usually immediately start eating grass. So it is natural for them, it is in their nature to get some small amount of carbohydrates in their diet, up to 5%. It should be 5%, no more than 5% of what your quantity of meat is. So for 1 pound of meat like I have here, that would equal just 1 tablespoon of this green. So I'll put 1 tablespoon in each batch, and then I just scoop out tablespoons into little baggies to freeze, or you can throw it in like an ice cube tray, and then you already have, you know, this is probably going to be enough for like 5 batches of meat right here. So it really makes it super easy. So we're going to get that. Okay, this is really hard to do with 1.5 hands. There's my greens. And add my powder. Mix it all up. And this is it. This is my boy's meal. And of course, if you have more than one cat or pet you're feeding at one time, you know, you might want to make more than 1 pound at one time, but you don't want to leave the raw meat in the refrigerator for more than 3 days, any longer than 3 days, before they eat it all. So for me, I can only make 1 pound at a time, since it's mostly just Stubbin eating this. So you can make up more at one time though if you want, and then just freeze it. But I find it just as easy to do it this way and just serve it fresh. So once you have it all mixed up, you want to be sure that you're going to store the portion that you're going to feed into a glass Tupperware, or stainless if you have it. Sorry, my camera's everywhere. But anything that's not plastic, you don't want to store it in plastic, because the raw meat can seep into the pores of the plastic and then can create buildup of bacteria in the plastic, so you don't want to do that. So always store it in glass containers and feed it in glass or stainless steel. And there we go. So put this together and that's it. Now my boy's got food for a few days and we're good to go. So I'm happy and he'll be happy. So anyone have any questions, let me know. And that was how to properly and easily and affordably make your kitty or your puppy raw food diet at home. Bye.